Still not done talking about the zone defense. That's going to be a big deal for the Celtics. Is the San Antonio Spurs game coming up a trap game? And the vibes around this team, they just seem so good. We'll talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining Jase, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, plus weekends, bonus podcasts when they play on a Friday or a Saturday night. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure that you are ringing the bell and hopping into the comment section to let me know what you're thinking about the Celtics. I'm John Karalis. Played ball a long time ago. Now I'm covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Now new users can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Today we're talking about later on. It's just, you know what? It's all the plain pictures. It's all the pictures from the team playing over the past few days that got me thinking these vibes are not only good, immaculate vibes here in Boston. It's just something, maybe it's something special going on. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the San Antonio game in just a second, and we're going to do it all here along with the zone defense. With Tom Westerholm. There's the big reveal. Tom, how you doing, man?
Surprise, everyone. It's me.
Aha! Yeah. You thought it was just going to be me? No, it's me and Tom.
That's it.
So it's going to be a good show today, as opposed to the normal.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off here because I think the zone defense is such a big topic here with the Celtics because first, obviously, they have not played it a whole lot in Boston. And secondly, because it was so effective front and center against the Toronto Raptors. And I did the breakdown on Boston Sports Journal where it's just kind of like the old matchup amoeba UNLV zone where everybody's flying all over the place. Everybody's like, it's kind of like a glorified switching defense.
Yeah.
But look,
yeah.
The Celtics are using it. They're using it well. They're using it now to their advantage to create these runs. And I think when you look at how it worked against Toronto, I think it's kind of perfect. It's exactly what you're looking for. A change of pace that throws the other team off. And we've seen it work like this against the Celtics, where it throws the other team off and you can go on a little bit of a run. And that could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think a lot of zone defenses, there's something that you don't want to overdo because if you overdo them, then teams start to get like, not only do they start to figure it out for that game, but then you're giving other teams just tons of film to study, like just myriad opportunities to bust your zone down the road. So little spurts like this, little avenues are I think really effective. And, I think it's fun to watch it I like watching zone defense in the NBA. I hate watching it pretty much everywhere else. Mostly because I don't know, guard your man, dude. Like, I don't know. But like in the NBA level, it's like, okay, it's kind of accepted that like all these guys are good enough to make it to the NBA level. So now it becomes, more of like a strategy kind of thing. Like, okay, like, sure, when to employ it, how is it going to work? Who's going to go where? Who's doing what? Like that stuff's interesting to watch. I hate zone defense at the college level because like a lot of time, mostly when I watch college hoops, I'm trying to like watch a prospect and it's like, oh, fantastic. He's good. I'm glad you're good at the 2-3 zone. What can you do man to man? But it's cool in the NBA. I like watching. And the Celtics are, I think, and it's interesting too, because I do think they've had a lot of struggles with it. Right. And I like, they've had moments where it's like, man, this just is not Missoula clearly sees something here, but I don't see I don't see the vision along with him. And then to your point, you watch last night's game and it's like, okay, there it is. Now, that's what you're hoping to see from this one.
Yeah, it's interesting because the explanation where Joe said it forces us to communicate. It throws an element of stuff in there where it's like, if he doesn't like how things are going for the Celtics, you could now throw a zone in there, not just to stop the other team, but to force your team to start talking to one another and get that energy up. Be like, hey guys, you have to talk. You have to get into it. Jayson Tatum said, it's fun to play because we're figuring it out. It's almost, and this would be giving Joe an incredible amount of credit if he had this thought process, but it's almost like you wait till January to unleash it because it's something new, and that's what's going to keep the team engaged through the doldrums of the schedule. But there's Jayson Tatum saying it's kind of fun being in that defense because we're still figuring it out. And if that's the first time I've heard an NBA player say anything in the middle of January is kind of fun. This is where they all start to, like, again, people are making vacation plans. They're making all-star plans. There are distractions all over the place. It's cold. The weather sucks. Like nothing. They have all the same seasonal affective disorder on top of like having to play every other night, 3 games in 4 nights and all that stuff. So for Missoula to throw this out there, intentional or not, to get guys to be like, yeah, this is actually kind of fun. It's pretty well timed. And if it's a coincidence, it's a hell of a coincidence. And if it was planned, then it's a stroke of genius.
I mean, to your point, like Jayson Tatum yesterday, I mean, this is, kind of tangentially related, but, he's talking about how when he gets double teamed, the biggest thing that he has to remember is like, okay, don't get tired of doing the right thing. And it's like, that's so easy to do at this time of the year, is to get tired of doing the right things. You're just like, oh my gosh, I have to. Yeah. Oh man, you're doubling me out of the pick and roll. Whoa. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm going to throw this pass over here. It's like, it's like very easy to get kind of like stuck in the same ruts that you do, that like every possession, every game. And yeah, I mean, little extra challenge never hurt anybody, right? Little chance to pick up some new skills is certainly valuable. So yeah, I mean, you're right that giving Missoula credit for that is giving him an incredible amount of credit. But like, I don't know, we've given him a lot of credit on this show.
Sure.
Like why stop now?
Why stop now? Let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. Let's just say that he intended to do it. He knew that this was going to be the thing that got him the guys to get engaged, and boom, and it's getting them to work on a new thing. Look, however it goes, I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm glad that they finally like bought in to a little bit of zone defense, because it can be effective. And I used to be like, I understood the mindset of like, no, you got to play man because that's a man. It's a man's defense.
It's
like,
right there in the name. It's man to man. Guard your man.
Right. Come to realize that that's actually a pretty dumb way to think about it, because
agree.
It really, I'm not going to do something effective because me man. Like, come on, man, get over yourself. Use an effective defense. Yeah, we're too good to play zone defense. We're just going to let Eric freaking Spoelstra do it to incredible effect and let him be considered the best coach in freaking basketball. And how does he continue to get his teams to wildly overachieve? Maybe he uses every tool in the toolbox. So maybe it's good that the Celtics finally are like, yeah, we'll use some zone because it's actually effective.
I agree at the NBA level. I still hate it everywhere else.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to more zone defense.
Yeah.
Maybe the zone defense will help them avoid what seems to be setting up as a classic trap game. against the San Antonio Spurs. But we're not just talking about the trap game. We're talking about where the Celtics headspace is, because I think that's an important element of all of this. We'll talk about that in just a second. First, today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. I'm recording this show before the night in the NBA so I can watch these games and talk about it on Locked On NBA. So tomorrow you get two podcasts from me, this one about the Celtics and one about the NBA with my good friend Jake Madison from Locked On Pelicans. So make sure you're checking that show out as well. All right, let's get into this game, Tom, against the San Antonio Spurs. The Celtics beat the Spurs. They beat them pretty good. They handled Wembanyama. He didn't have much of that one crazy breakaway on Derek White, which led to a funny moment after the game. But this is setting up for like a real classic trap game. You're facing the Denver Nuggets on Friday, and that's going to be a big game. That's everybody, once again, potential finals matchup, right? You beat them pretty good before. And on top of it, there might be a couple of guys out. The injury reports questionable. Porzingis, Derek White, I think Holiday, all questionable. I don't know, Tom. The Celtics have kept a pretty good mindset all season long. They've rarely fell into these traps, but there is a trap there for them to fall into if they so choose. What do you think wins out? The January doldrums and falling into the trap because they just kind of like bored, or is it are they able to kind of pull through this?
Look, last year's team, I mean, I think we both know what my answer, at least. I think probably both of our answer would have been like
chalk that up as a loss.
Just an L. Oh yeah. This year's team, I think, has earned the benefit of the doubt in almost every regard, right? Like you just kind of go through the schedule, you go through all the wins that they've put together, you go through the teams they've beaten, you go through their losses, and it's like, okay, this loss here, they couldn't make a three. That's going to happen every once in a while. They bounce back the next night. Okay, this loss here, that Charlotte loss, it was like, I think it was like third game in 4 nights back to back, last game of a road trip. Yeah, it's a schedule loss. I mean, the Milwaukee game, you can say what you want about the final score and about, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like that was the most blatant schedule loss I've ever seen. And
yeah,
everybody wants to call that an excuse. And I don't know what to tell you. Just look at the schedule. It was the definition of a schedule loss.
Yeah.
So, it's like you kind of go through it and it's like, I think they're going to, I don't think that they're going to get stuck in the doldrums because we've seen, there's been plenty of time to get stuck in the doldrums, to start slipping. I think that the perfect home record means something to them at this point. They talk very openly about, the crowd and how much that helps and all that stuff. Like they're everybody's kind of feeding off each other right now, right at TD Garden. Like I think there's enough there. And I think there's enough kind of background of the Celtics shaking that stuff off to, think very highly of them. I don't think that they're going to get stuck in that trap. Now, I will say, like you said, the injury report, you start talking about like, Derek White, Andrew Holiday, like those are obviously very important pieces. And those are guys who are a big part of the reason there's been so much consistency. So if there is slippage, it could be there, right? Where you're so used to, Jaylen and Jayson are awesome, but you're so used to having this awesome backcourt that's just kind of greasing the wheels for them. All of a sudden you take that away, it gets more complicated. Like, I think that's something like that's plausible. But generally speaking, no, I mean, this team's awesome and they played awesome. And I don't see any reason to think they'll stop.
I agree with your dog, and I will say that I also am mad at whoever is at your door. I'll
unmute it again. She's so mad.
What's funny is earlier, because I'm downstairs recording, my dog was upstairs doing the same thing. I just have a buffer in between. But also, I feel like this team has, and this is where I am going to give Joe Mazzulla the credit, because he has made this emphasis. Each game is the same, and he's trying. Now, we know playing the Spurs is not the same as playing the Nuggets, because a lot of these guys have proven that over the course of time, where they've played worse against worse teams and better against good teams because they don't take those teams seriously. So we can't lie to ourselves and say, yes, every game is 1/82nd of a schedule and is equal. Like, you slice the pie into 82 slices and each one is exactly the same. We know that that's not true, but that's the goal. That's when Joe talks about perfection, or trying to reach that level of perfection, it is treating the Spurs game the same way you treat the Nuggets game. And that's just respecting the opponent, but also respecting yourself to go out there and execute the way you're supposed to execute. And that's the challenge. The challenge for them is, can you go out there and for them, it starts on the offensive end. Can you go out there, get the spacing that you're looking for? Can you get the mismatches that you're looking for? Can you score and set your defense so the Spurs aren't running and Wembanyama can't do freaky things, and you can set your defense, and then you build this perpetual motion machine. You score, you set your defense, you force a turnover, you score, you set your defense, and so on and so on and so on. That's the Celtics at their best. If they can maintain that, and they've done a good job, and Mazzulla has done a great job of hammering that point home. I do think that even if they do come out slow against San Antonio, I think they can get out of it quicker than they have in the past. So I'm not going to sit there and say they're immune to falling victim to some of this stuff. What I'm saying is, I don't think they have it in them to have a 100% top to bottom crappy game simply because they don't care to put in the effort.
Yeah, they definitely have it in them to have a top to bottom crappy game, because we saw it in the first two quarters.
We saw it against it against the Bucks.
But
I'm chalking that up to fatigue.
You get one.
That's a fatigue game.
You get a freebie.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the
agreed though.
You're healthy, you're generally not fatigued, but you're not taking the opponent seriously. I don't think the Celtics have done that more than like once or twice this year.
I agree. I think that there's something else too to the idea of like you treat your opponent with respect. You talk about like respecting yourself too. Also, just not wasting your time. Like, you're an NBA player.
Right.
It's like look, your entire day is shot by you having a game at night anyway. You might as well you've already, you got shoot around in the morning, and then like your nap speaks for your afternoon, and then you got to be at the arena at 5 or whatever. It's like, that's your whole day. So like, you might as well come out, play hard, try to try to learn some stuff, try to prepare yourself for the playoffs. And I think that's one of the things that this team has done so well this year is just again, respect for themselves, respect for their opponent, just respect for the game, respect for the giant kind of aspirations that they have for themselves. Like that's they're doing all the right things to try to accomplish those things, which is I think it's what's made them so much fun to watch this year.
And respect, Tom, for one another, for your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons why this team is doing so well is because of the respect level of all of these teammates, what they have for each other. And we're seeing it on the socials, and damn it, I feel like we should overreact to it. So we're going to do that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. We're going to help you get started on your therapy journey. Make yourself a little happier. Get yourself into a better headspace. And it starts with finding the right therapist, which you can do at BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. You'll get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. And what they'll do is they'll match you. You fill out a questionnaire. They'll match you with a therapist. So immediately you don't have to go shopping around for who's in your area. This is all done online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You get matched with a therapist. You figure out whether you want to do it over text, video, phone, whatever. Then if you click, great. Then you're on your journey, and that's going to be a great journey for you. If you don't, then you can switch, and that's super, super important. You can keep going until you find somebody that you mesh with, and when you mesh with that person, you can really get going and start to feel a little bit better about yourself, about your day, about your life. So give therapy a try. Give BetterHelp a try. Again, BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. HELP, BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and that's for a reason, because new customers, if you just want to sign up now, if you haven't signed up yet, all you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. When you do that and you place a $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. So place your $5 bet, win or lose, but hey, if you win that money plus $150 in bonus bets. You can take all that and go through a very easy to use app. Find some live same game parlays. You can find bets in their new Explore tab. You can see what people are betting on. Maybe it gives you an idea. Maybe you can find a parlay in the Parlay Hub so you can see what's popular and what people are stacking up and betting on. You can do all that and more. FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make your first bet a layup. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. The best part about FanDuel is their tools to help keep you protected. This is all fun. You can have fun spending a little bit of money. I spend money every weekend going out to a bar, going out to eat. You can use some of that money to play on FanDuel. You can just set your limits, set your parameters, set your goals, and they will help you gamble responsibly. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Go put it on, leave it on. Forget about all the contrived fake arguing that people are doing. It's all for show. They're not really arguing. They're doing it just to get you riled up. You want real conversation on Locked On Sports Today of all the big stories. So check it out. Subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 channel on YouTube. All right, let's get back into this conversation here with Tom Westerholm. And Tom, I don't know, man. On Instagram, I'm on O'Shea Brissett's Instagram, and guys are on the team plane, and Porzingis is sharing all these photos of him sitting next to Jaylen Brown. All the stories that these guys tell us are true. They do sit next to each other on the plane. There's Al Horford sitting next to Jayson Tatum on the plane. They just shared this big photo of the entire team on the team plane, all 14 guys. I really feel like this is one of those teams that, there's going to be some back and forth. Like, I've been on teams where I've loved most of my teammates. And every once in a while there's been like, no, screw you. No, what are you doing? And like people who were at my wedding, people who are very close, I'm very close with, and you have arguments with. But I really feel like all of these guys, they're actually like enjoying themselves. And I honestly, I feel like this is part of why this team is playing so well, because if you're gonna do the work, it's one thing to do the work for yourself. It's another thing to do the work for the guy next to you. And it feels like these guys are actually working for the guy next to them, that these guys are on the floor working well together. We saw it going back to the zone defense, covering for one another, making the right reads. No one's getting upset. I guarantee you all of the stuff that we saw, it was not all by design. People make decisions, and like the number one thing you got to do when you make a decision in a situation like that is stick to it. So you don't be like, oh, you know what? I shouldn't be there. I'm going to leave this guy and go to that guy. You stick to your decisions, and trust the guys behind you. They're like, all right, he went with that guy. Who's open? Boom, let's cover for him here. And everybody's doing that. It's hard to do that when you don't like each other. So I think the vibes, I think all of this stuff, I think the stuff that we're seeing these guys kind of share out there publicly, I think it's meaningful. I think there's actual meaning to how these guys are with each other, especially they spend a lot of time on the team playing, Tom. Yeah. So it's good that they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's a little bit of a chicken and an egg thing going on too, right? Where you say like, I think these guys really like each other, and I think that's why they're playing well. And it's also like, well, I think they're playing well, and that's part of the reason why they like each other too, right? It's like
100%.
It's I mean, the best best hoops friends you make are the teammates who compliment you and who you compliment, and who everybody kind of has like a nice symbiotic thing going on where it's like, yeah, I really like that guy, man. His passes to me are just great. But yeah, no, I think like, like, yeah, everybody's like, you can tell when things are fake, right? You can tell when guys aren't really actually feeling each other the way that this team clearly, seems to be.
Right.
And
like the rapport that we have, you can tell that that's completely
you can
fake.
tell that that this is contrived. Absolutely. But, I mean, I think back to like, talking about plane pictures, right? It brings me back to when Kyrie, they had that long plane ride, and Kyrie was like, man, that long plane ride really helped us out. And I think they went like 1-4 on that trip or something like that. Like, it was the disaster season, but
they won that first game, and we got to write our plane ride Celtics story.
We did. And everybody tried to write the like behind the scenes in the Celtics plane ride, which then proved to just literally be nothing. Yeah, shout out to that team as always. But yeah, I think like that team, you could always tell, like, even when they were like, yeah, I think we really worked some stuff out. It was always like, did you? You did. You worked some stuff out. And this team feels like the opposite of that, right? Like this team feels like everything they say about like, okay, yeah, we like each other. We're, this guy's friends with this guy. This guy's friends with this guy, and we're all tight. And Drew Holiday's out here in his post-game press conference saying like, man, Derek White's an all-star when he's an all-star, and they basically occupy the same space. And it's just like, guys ceding that ground to each other. Like there's little things that you see here and there where it's like, okay, yeah, I really, like everybody losing their minds because Kristaps Porzingis pointed at like ice in his, Luke Cornett pointed ice in his veins after a free throw. Like everybody finding Luke funny. Like everybody finding it funny when Sam Hauser dunks. There's like all these little chemistry kind of things, all these little like, inside jokes, inside baseball kind of things that I think, kind of show you that a team likes each other. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot with this year's squad.
Yeah, they are acting. It's very weird that, the flow between young up and coming team always standing up and cheering for one another. Then you get to a certain point where they're all like, just kind of like cordial on the bench as they get further on. This team seems to have like a lot of that young up and coming team kind of feel to it on the while still being like the good, you know what I'm saying?
I do. And one of my theories on that is that like, and this is pure theory, but it's like, okay, so the Celtics made it abundantly clear over the summer what their number one priority is, right? That's winning a championship. We don't care who's on the team. We'll trade away Marcus Smart. We do not care. Yeah. We want a championship, and we want it now. And it's like, if you're, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, if you're these guys, and it's like, oh, okay, then everybody needs to pitch in for a championship. If you're Derek White, you don't want to get traded again. You don't want to like, you want to be here for a while. You want to like settle down with your young family. It's like, okay, I don't want to get traded. Let's buy a new championship. And I mean, there's other examples too, right? It's like Kristaps Porzingis is just happy. It seems like he's just happy to be on like a winning team where the crowd likes basketball a lot. Like, Drew Holiday seems to be glad that he's like on a contender after leaving a contender. Like, different circumstances everywhere. But I do kind of wonder if, to an extent, there is a little bit of like a scared straight, like, okay, all right, all right, heard. Got to win a title. Gonna try to win a title. Let's win a title, guys. Like,
nothing like the good old sword of Damocles hanging over people's heads right. to get them to play well and like each other. You're all friends, right?
The guillotine of Marcus Smart, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, man, you're right. It does all feed into one another. There are ways that each side can go during the course of a season, but I think you hit on it when you said Porzingis, because he could easily have come in here and been kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
Could have easily come in here and been like, hey, I just came off my best season of all time. I deserve this much. I deserve this amount of touches. Me. Holiday could have come in and been like pissed off. Like, sure, he's on a contender, but like, you ripped him from a community that he was. It was very obvious he loved Milwaukee and his wife loved Milwaukee. So he could have come in here and.
I will say it does help that the Celtics weren't the team that ripped him out of there. Like,
no, that's true. That's true. And yes. So, but also, regardless of who did it, he could have come in like jaded and angry and whatever. But he's right on board. Those two guys coming in and fitting in seamlessly have been a huge part of this. Guys like Stevens and Brissett and Mikhailuk coming in, Banton coming in and not playing, when we all, like, on the outside, it felt like, oh, these are guys who could get minutes, and we're getting minutes. Like, Brissett got minutes in Indy. Stevens got minutes in Cleveland. He got starts in Cleveland. Now he got a couple of starts here in Boston too, but regardless, it's not the same thing. But everybody is falling in line, and this is the thing. Again, a testament to the coaches, a testament to the front office, but everybody seems to be on the same page, and that's that. When we're talking about the zone and we're talking about trap games and why the zone is working for them and why they don't fall for trap games, it's all this stuff that we're talking about.
I also, not to put too fine, I also think everybody's just a little older now. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I think that really matters. I think you look at Kristaps Porzingis and you look at the situations that he's been in. It's so much easier to buy in at his, advanced age of, I don't know what he is. What is he? 20? It's like
28 or something like that.
7, 28. Yeah. At that kind of advanced age, I just think it's a lot easier to buy 28. In. 28. Yeah. I mean, Tatum, Jaylen, these guys are, 25, 26 now, like, pretty much up and down the board. Everybody's over 25. Everybody's frontal lobe is all there. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's, like everybody's an adult on this team, and an adult's like, if they're just working on a project together, and that project is win a title, and they got the talent to do it, and they got the, it seems like they got the maturity and the life experience and the NBA experience to do it. So yeah, makes the vibes a little easier, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so wild to be talking about guys who are 24, 25, 26 as, oh, no, they're mature now. Like, really? Really? I remember being 25 and I'm 50 and I'm still not mature. And we're talking about these guys being mature. Anyway.
Stakes are a lot lower for us than it is for them.
Stakes are, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. All right, Tom. Appreciate you hopping on as always.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. And I appreciate all of you, listeners, watchers, whatever you are, wherever you are, however you're doing it. Thank you so much for making this show part of your daily routine. Again, we're here Monday through Friday, and then bonus podcasts on the weekend when they play. So the rest of this week, tomorrow is going to be the post-game Spurs podcast. That will be the Thursday show. And then Thursday night, I am recording a podcast with Drew Carter, the new Celtics play-by-play guy, the road play-by-play guy. So that will be the Friday show. So make sure you're subscribed. So you make sure so that gets dropped to your device as soon as I publish that. Subscribe on YouTube, ring the bell there, get into the comment section. I'm looking forward to doing that show. All of you everydayers, my Ride or dies, thank you so much. Now I would love it if you shared the podcast, spread the word, tell your friends that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.